He has a heart of ice, but for her, had burned the world. Alex Volkov is a devil blessed with the face of an angel and cursed, with a past he can't escape. Driven by a tragedy that has haunted him for the most of his life, his ruthless pursuits for success and vengeance leave little room for matters of the heart. But when he's forced to look after his best friend's sister, he starts to feel something in his chest. A crack, a melt, a fire that could end his world as he knew it. Ava Chen is a free spirit trapped by nightmares of a childhood she can't remember. But despite her broken past, she's never stopped seeing the beauty in the world, including the heart beneath the icy exterior of a man she shouldn't want. Her brother's best friend, her neighbor, her savior and her downfall. There is a love that was never supposed to happen, but when it does, it unleashes secrets that could destroy them both and everything they hold dear. Chapter 1. Ava. There were worse things than being stranded in the middle of the nowhere during a rainstorm. For example, I could be running from a rabid bear intent on mauling me into the next century, or I could be tied to a chair in the dark basement and forced to listen to Aqua's Barbie Girl on repeat until I'd rather gnaw on my arm and then hear the song's eponymous phrase again. But just because things could be worse didn't mean they didn't suck. Stop. Think positive thoughts. An Uber will show up. Now. I stared at my phone, beating back my frustration when the app reassured me it was fighting my right, the way it had been for the past half hour. Normally, I'd be less stressed about the situation because, hey, at least I had a working phone and a bus shelter to keep me mostly dry for the pounding rain. But Josh's farewell party was starting in an hour. I had yet to pick up his surprise cake from the bakery, and it would be dark soon. I may be a glass half full kind of girl, but I wasn't an idiot. No one, especially not a college girl with zero fighting skills to speak of, wants to find herself alone in the middle of nowhere after dark. I shouldn't take 2 self-defense classes with Jules, like she wanted. I mentally scrolled through my limited options. The bus that stopped at this location didn't run on the weekends, and most of my friends didn't own a car. Bridget had a car service, but she wasn't embassy event until 7. Uber wasn't working, and I hadn't seen a single car pass by since the rain started. Not that I would hitchhike. Anyway, I've watched horror movies, thank you very much. I only had one option, left one, I really didn't want to take, but beggars couldn't be choosers. I pulled up the contact in my phone, said a silent prayer, and pressed the call button. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3. Come on, pick up, or not. I wasn't sure which would be worse, getting murdered or dealing with my brother. Of course, there was always the chance that brother would murder me himself for putting myself in such a situation. But I'd deal with that later. What's wrong? I scrunched my nose and his greeting. Hello to you, brother dearest. What makes you think something is wrong? Josh snorted. Ah, you called me. You never call unless you're in the trouble. True. We prefer texting, and we live next door to each other. Not bad idea. By the way, so we rarely had to message at all. I wouldn't say I'm in trouble. I had it. More like stranded. I'm not near public transport and I can't find a number. Christ, Ava, where you are? I told him. What the hell are you doing there? There's an hour from campus. Don't be dramatic. I had an engagement shoot, and it's a 30-minute drive, 45. Is there's traffic? Thunder boomed, shaking the branches of nearby trees. I winced and shrank, further back into the shelter. Not that it did much me good. The rain slanted sideways, splattering me with water droplets so heavy and hard they stung when they hit my skin. A rustling noise came from Josh's end, followed by a soft moan. I paused. Sure, I had her wrong, but nope. There it was again. Another moan. My eyes widened in horror. Are you having sex right now? A whisper shouted, even though no one else was around. The sandwich I'd scarfed down before I left for my shoot pretended to make a reappearance. There was nothing, I repeat nothing, grosser than listening to a relative while they're mid-coitus. Just the thought made me gag. Technically no. Josh sounded unrepentant. The word technically did a lot of heavy lifting there. It didn't take a genius to decipher Josh's vague reply. He may not be having intercourse, but something was going on, and I had zero desire to find out what the something was. Josh Chen. Hey, you're the one who called me. He must have covered his phone with his hand, because his next words came through muffled. I heard a soft, feminine laugh followed by a sequel, and I wanted to bleach my ears, my eyes, my mind. One of the guys took my car to buy more ice, Josh said, his voice clear again. But don't worry, I got you. Drop a pin on your exact location and keep your phone close. Do you still have the pepper spray I bought for your birthday last year? Yes. Thanks for that, by the way. I'd wanted a new camera back, but Josh had bought me an 8-pack of pepper spray instead. I'd never used any of it, which mean all 8 bottles, minus the one tucked in my purse, were sitting snug in the back of my closet. My sarcasm went over my brother's head. For a straight, a pre-med student, he could be quite dense. You're welcome. Stay put and he'll be there soon. We talk about your complete lack of self-preservation later. I'm self-preserved. I protest. Was that the right word? It's not my fault. There are no ubwait. What do you mean he? Josh? Too late. Had already hung up. Figured the one time I wanted him to elaborate. Had ditched me for one of his bad buddies. I was surprised. He hadn't freaked out more, considering Josh put the over in overprotective. Ever since the incident, he'd taken it upon himself to look after me like he was my brother and bodyguard rolled into one. I didn't blame him. Our childhood had been 100 shades of messed up. Or so I'd be told, and I loved him to pieces, but his constant worrying could be a bit much. I sat sideways on the bench and hugged my back to my side, letting the cracked leather warm my skin while I waited for my mysterious he to show up. It couldn't be anyone. Josh had no shortage of friends, had always been Mr. Popular, basketball player, student body president and homecoming king in high school. Sigma, brother and big man on campus in college. I was his opposite, not unpopular per se, but I shied away from the limelight and would rather have a small group of close friends than a large group of friendly. Where Josh was the life of the party, I sat in the corner and daydreamed about all the places I would love to visit but would probably never get to. Not if my phobia had anything to do with it.